Top five.
Top five. Kyle?
Top five.
All right. Our favorite segment, and one that week 18, it's week 17, I think it's gonna be pretty, I don't want to say accurate or we're gonna have the same teams, but I think we're gonna be a lot closer than we usually are. Would you agree, Kyle? Maybe.
I'm interested in this. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm excited to find out.
Let's do it. And I think you started last week, right?
I started last week. Yep.
Okay, cool. So then I will, and I love this comment by Crafty. Kyle's top five will have an empty space where the Ravens should be. So around number one, got it. Number five for me is going to be a team that came away with a win this week, but lost to the Dolphins last week. I'm going to go with the Cowboys. They re-enter my top five this week after being left out of it last week. The Cowboys for me at number five. Kyle, like you said, they got the division lead net right now. They still have a week 18 matchup, and I think the Eagles are still able to get it, but the Dallas Cowboys right now have the division lead and look great at home. Perfect record at home. It's going to benefit them a lot in the playoffs, and they can win out in week 18. They're going to have a home playoff game. So Cowboys number five. Dak is looking good. CeeDee Lamb is a monster, and the defense is doing really well.
I can respect it. At number five, I have the Buffalo Bills.
Ooh.
The Bills have jumped into my top five because they've won 5 of their last 6. They're also, to me, just a very, very dangerous team heating up right now. And if I had like 5 teams that I think are going to make it to the Super Bowl, they're all in my top 5 this year. And Buffalo is in, and Kansas City is not.
Love it. All right. Great. Good choice, by the way. Good choice. Number 4 for me.
Denver.
Even though they lost in a very controversial way, they lost to the number 5 team. I've got the Lions at number 4. They're still leading the division. They got screwed over in that loss against Dallas. They've got a good offense. Their defense has been a lot better recently. Kyle loves it. Kyle absolutely loves my
put pick. It on him.
Yeah. Their defense is just looked a lot better recently. And I think, going into the playoffs, it's going to be it's going to show a little bit more, and there won't be a one and done team. Again, the big things for me are get that running game going with Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery and stop those turnovers by Jared Goff. And maybe Dan Campbell, go for overtime, dude. Let's just go for the overtime. I think it's going to be a good recipe for the Lions.
Yeah. Well, I'm not taking that bait. That's a whole debate, and I can't jump through that. We can't go through that door right now. And number 4, yet. I have the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Dallas Cowboys played a really good game. I guess you could say they won the game if you want. And they, to me, proved that they're a top 5 team in the NFL. Like, they have their games where they lose. Like, they lost to the who did they lose to really bad?
Who, the Cowboys?
49ers.
Yeah.
That 49ers loss was really bad, but it feels like a long time ago. And with the way Dak Prescott's playing, the way McCarthy's going, the way they're running the football, CeeDee Lamb is having a incredible year. Like, CeeDee Lamb's having the kind of year that can take their team to the Super Bowl. Remember how Stephon Diggs was so big for Josh Allen? That's how big CeeDee Lamb is for Dak. Yeah, this is the best connection in the NFL right now. Quarterback to wide receiver, and the defense is playing at a high level with Dan Quinn and Micah Parsons. This is a team ready to play in a Super Bowl. So Cowboys at 4.
Love it. My number 3 team, I think you might like this one, Kyle. It's going to be the Browns. The first 3 letters, yes, there's correct. But the Browns are my number 3 team. They have clinched the playoff spot. They came off a very dominating win against the Jets. on Thursday Night Football, and all this with Joe Flacco, all this without not Bradley Chubb, Nick Chubb, all this with a ton of other injuries, all this with Njoku being the best, his favorite target other than Amari Cooper. Stefanski might win Coach of the Year for what he's done with the Browns this year. All the just stuff that he's faced, the injuries, the moving around, the Joe Flacco falling asleep on the sidelines because he's an old man, all that stuff. He might win Coach of the Year, and that's why Browns are number 3 on my top five.
At number 3, I have the Detroit Lions. The Lions beat the Dallas Cowboys on Saturday night. I don't care what they say. They went down there, and Dan Campbell showed his guts on the road in a hostile environment. He was going for 2. And what's even more attractive and hot about this whole thing is that Dan Campbell was talking to the refs pregame about what he was going to do in this situation, which is such a turn on. I think if you're a Lions fan, you feel really, really good about your coach. And yes, after the penalty, they should have kicked the extra point, but there shouldn't have been a penalty, and there shouldn't have been any of that. So I don't really care. To me, they went for 2 and it worked. And it was the right decision because it worked. And it was the right decision because it was Dan's decision and it was the team's decision. And that's just kind of how Detroit goes. They have guts and they have balls, and they backed it up on Saturday. I think if the Lions are in the situation again, they do the same thing, and maybe not in the playoffs, but the idea of them going forward on 4th and 3 and staying aggressive, that's got to be an idea that we got to get used to because it's part of their identity. And the reason they can be that aggressive is because they know that they can back it up.
All right. Love it. Didn't think they were going to make the top 5. Your top 5, to be honest. Number 2 for me, I've got the San Francisco 49ers at number 2. Obviously, last week they were also my number 2 after losing that big game against the Ravens and how bad they lost it too. No, the Niners.
You got them at 2?
Yeah, I got them at 2. I got the Niners at 2. So I'm taking the Niners because they had that comeback when I don't know what Kyle's talking about over here.
I just can't believe they're not at 1.
I can believe it. And I think everybody in the comments and everybody listening and watching can believe it. 49ers, my number 2 team. Kyle, what you got at number 2?
At number 2, I have the Baltimore Ravens. No doubt they're playing some good ball right now.
I can't believe
one of the best teams in the league. And the thing is, though, the 49ers are better. And I know that they lost to the Ravens, but we're not going to judge a whole team off one game. And the 49ers are a better team with Trent Williams, and they didn't have Trent Williams in that game. I still think the 49ers are a better team. In Miami, by the way, man, they made the Chiefs look good in Germany. So Miami's not that great. They just have so much talent on their team that when they're firing on all cylinders, they accidentally score 40 points. Like they have those type of nights all the time. But in the big picture, I don't think that the Dolphins are all that great of a team. I go back and forth on them week to week. Sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, I could see it. And then sometimes I'm like, no, they're not that great. So I don't know. I know the Ravens had a dominant win, but I felt like that wasn't a great game for Miami. I still think the 49ers are better than the Ravens.
You're absolutely high, and that's why I have the Ravens as my number 1 team. They have been dominating these last
This is a nightmare.
6 weeks. 6 weeks in a row, Kyle. They have won. They have won 6 weeks in a row. They have not lost since mid-November. They continued the new year on winning. They locked up the number 1 seed in the AFC North. The 49ers went up against them, and we always, I feel like, take these types of games, and they're a measuring stick game for sure. And that may not mean much because look what the 49ers did to the Cowboys, and look what the Cowboys did after that loss, right? So it may not mean much, but as of right now, Ravens, my number 1 team across the NFL. So tell me why you have the Browns at number 1. Loser!
Wake me up. Wake
When
me up.
September
I'm
ends.
sleeping. Wake me up. Oh, I hate you. Yeah,
I know.
you're right. The Ravens are really good. Top 5, no debating. Top 5, top 5.
Top 5, no debating.
One of our favorite segments. Okay.
Who's your number 1?
I thought I told you already.
No, you didn't. Is it the 49ers?
It's the 49ers.
All
Yeah.
right,
Sorry, no,
all right.
I was like, yeah, I got the 49ers at 1. I thought so.
I mean,
Sorry.
obviously, but I want you to say it. I want you to say
Okay.
it.
Sorry. At number, well, we can cut that. At
All
number
right, say it,
1.
Kyle. Say it.
At number 1.
Top 5, no debate.
No, I'm just kidding. Let's go.
At number 1, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Oh my God, that was so funny. All that work to get me to say it just to be like, at number 1, top 5 to debate. No, I'm just fucking with you, dude. Go ahead. Oh God, that was awesome. 49ers are the best team in the NFL. Christian McCaffrey. Do we I was trying to see if there's anything about his injury that's come up because
Not that I've heard. No.
CMC will be all right. Okay. CMC will be all right. Very broad, but
Very
broad wording. But that is coming from San Francisco. We think he'll be all right, Shanahan said. I don't know if he would have been able to go next week or not, but we'll find out more tomorrow. So whatever it is, it's not super serious, it sounds like, but hopefully it's not something he's nursing going into the playoffs, because that is a huge deal. But yeah, I think the 49ers, they'll get another shot to play the Ravens. If the Ravens are as good as you say they are, then they'll play them in the Super Bowl. And then we'll definitely be like on different sides. You'll be in purple and I'll be wearing my Brock Purdy t-shirt.
So hard.
And we'll get to the bottom of it. But I do think that if they play again, it would be a close game. And I think it'd be a great game. The way the way Lamar's playing right now is just great for television. Like, sit down and watch a Ravens game. If you haven't done that this year, just sit down and throw on a Ravens game. If you got no game on and you're sad on Thursday, just watch a Ravens game. It's a lot of fun, and I hate it so fucking much. I just hope that they start losing really bad. You know, I just hope that their franchise goes into like a 10-year dry spell. And
I mean, that's kind of what happened.
I just want their fans to like go to the games, like a sold out stadium, just for like 7 straight years, wondering when it's going to end. When is the suffering going to end? Why do we buy tickets? I want them to debate with each other on whether it's even worth it being a Ravens fan. So of course I don't want them to win the Super Bowl. But yeah, I understand you having them at 1. I do. But 49ers, I'm going to die on this horse.
I love it. Kyle's dying on that horse. I'm dying on this Raven. And that was
top 5, no debating. Top 5.
At number 1, I have top 5, no debating. No, I'm just kidding, buddy.
Let's go. Say it.